I'm Eric, and this is...
I'm JJ, his wife.
Yeah, we've been married for 28 years or something like that.
That.
It's a pretty good amount.
Wow.
It's like advanced beginner at it.
Hey, marriage is a skill.
It is. And so is carnivore, the proper human diet, keto, ketovore, carnivore, lion diet if you need it. And with it comes many benefits, which we've talked about in past videos. And if you're watching this, you're probably already involved in it, interested in it, studying it, trying to figure out whether you want to do it, or you're just looking for inspo to stay on track.
Very important.
But sometimes information hits us and we have to contend with it. And for me, recently, I think it was a podcast that Dr. Peter Attia was on. He is very much in the get LDL low, get ApoB very low. And he has reasons. Now, I have a lot of respect for Dr. Attia. I think he's just a brilliant guy.
How long have you been following him?
It's gotta be 5 years now. I mean, he was, I think originally I heard him maybe first with Tim Ferriss. I don't remember where I first encountered him.
It's been a while.
And he's undergone his own evolution through that period of time. He's got a best-selling book out right now called Outlive. And so when someone who's very smart promotes something where it goes counter to what others are saying, what does a non-doctor, non-research scientist, non-trained carnivore dietitian or whatever do with that? How do I contend with that? Because my ApoB is quite high. Now I haven't had it measured recently, so I'm not going to give you a number, but it's over 100. Whatever, I don't even know what the standard is. I think he's trying to get his down to like below 30 or something. I don't really know. And willing to take a lot of statins and PCSK9 inhibitors or whatever they're called to get there. I just quit my statin not that long ago after I got a CAC score of 0. I did that advisedly, talking with a doctor. The American Heart Association even says somewhere on their website, if you're over 50 and have a CAC score of 0, statin's probably not indicated. I don't know. It's really hard.
Oh, my doctor, my general practitioner
wants me on
all
the statins.
All the statins all the time. Yeah, my more integrative.
Yeah, so it's one of those things where you have to take the information on board and kind of come to some sort of conclusion. Well, the conclusion that I can make is, I don't know, maybe I should go back on a statin and try to bring it down, or maybe there's a diet intervention that I'm not doing that could have an effect, or maybe I just need to do carnivore longer.
So in the past, this would have sent you into a tailspin.
Yeah, well, I have a really long, troubled history with health anxiety. So anything to do with my health, any symptom, any sensation used to trigger a spiral of thought that would make me think I was going to die. It was miserable for me. It was miserable for my family. But thankfully, that is pretty much behind me. Even though the thoughts sometimes get into the brain, I don't let them spin. I go, and they go out. And carnivore has helped me with that, by the way.
Yes, it has.
Which may even seem a little counterintuitive because carnivore in the past would have been like, you're eating all that fat, your arteries are going to be just plugged right up.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, you probably should just get a standing order for an angioplasty and just go in once a week.
I mean, we're joking about it, which we've always been able to do. And it was a pretty long, intense period.
Yeah. So when I hear these types of things and then I look at my blood markers, which we'll show in a future video, and I just got a blood draw recently and we'll look at them and see what they say. You have to live your life and keep going. And it's always this tension between, well, this diet is working for reflux, IBS, and all of these other issues. And it seems to have the counter effect on some of these blood markers that doctors are concerned about. What do I do?
What do you do?
Do I go on high-dose statins to try to counter that or not? And who do I listen to? Because there's plenty of doctors on YouTube right now who will say, don't worry about it. If your triglycerides are down and your HDL is up and all those things. So there's a lot going there, and yet we have to go on with our lives and live our days. And sometimes it's hard because we have this conflict. And one of the moves to make when in the skill of carnivore is to go back to the sources that comforted you in the first place. And this doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be 100% right all of the time. Because, who is? Except for my dad.
Or so he thought.
Yeah. And those sources have grown tremendously over the years, and we live in like the golden age of learning about carnivore and seeing it working for people. There's so many channels that have inspired us, and we actually want to acknowledge many of them right now.
And hopefully we don't forget anyone.
We've mentioned Dr. Barry on, I think, every single video we've done.
Dr. Barry is how I came into it. You came home talking about eating more protein. I dismissed it for a while. And then I started to come around as I was experimenting more, and he showed up in my feed, and I was watching him all the time. You were like, who is this guy you keep watching?
Yeah.
So he was really number one for me.
Yeah, he's obviously just very skilled communicator. He's a doctor. He's
and entertaining.
Yeah, it's that southern directness that is got a little bit of holding you accountable while giving you sort of a little sugar on top of it.
Yep.
He's definitely oh bless your heart to his foes kind of a personality.
Yeah. Yes, Dr. Barry. Also, Dr. Ben Bickman. I've referred to how much I've learned about insulin, which again, I'm not a scientist either, so I don't feel comfortable ever talking about insulin outright. But Dr. Ben Bickman really helped me understand insulin and really understand why, for me, time-restricted eating, not snacking, all those sorts of things, the eating till you're comfortably stuffed, as Dr. Barry said, why that's important for insulin.
Did Bickman talk about comfortably stuffed?
He did not. And he's really interesting because he's a little more, I don't think he's strict carnivore.
Oh.
But he's gotten certain family commitments and so forth that it's really important to him. So he really focuses on insulin and does agree with carnivore, but has a little bit more flexible approach. Yeah.
Well, as a dude, I was immediately drawn to Dr. Baker, who I think he's got one of the kind of original books on it, and he kind of popularized carnivore to a lot of people when he appeared on Joe Rogan many years ago, and that got into the kind of the ether. Of course, by being on Rogan, immediately like half the population said he's an idiot and we should never listen to anything he has to say. But he's on YouTube and he's got just amazing interviews that he does, and he's very pragmatic about it. And you can see the results. I mean, he's older than we are, and he is in amazing physical condition
Yes.
and stronger than all of us combined.
Yep. Now, someone I came upon early, figuring out how to cook for me and for us, was Laura Spath. And she does a lot of cooking videos, but also, which...
Is she carnivore?
She's carnivore and has been for, I think, about 6 years. And it was her husband's health crisis. They were both overweight, but he ended up in the hospital with like that sepsis or something like that. I don't know exactly, where he was near death because of his diabetes and inability to heal. And so they turned it around. But she has a lot of ways how you can cook meat, but also she travels a lot with work. So she does a lot of how do you eat out? What do you order when you go to this restaurant? And so that was really useful too, especially early on. Because
I'm a dude, I like Dr. Chafee.
Yes. Well, ladies. Dr. Chafee isn't bad.
I don't know. I feel like I'm looking in the mirror every time I see him.
Yeah.
He just has too much hair.
That's what if you didn't.
But one thing the one thing that I love about the way he presents carnivore is this idea that plants are trying to kill you. And I love that he puts it so boldly. because it's like something that I want to be true. I detest most vegetables anyway, so I don't want to have to eat them because they taste bad. They taste bad because they're trying to kill you. But
Hello.
yeah. But it's just another one of those ones I can go to him and I know that I can get my mind reaffirmed that I am on the right track, even though they don't necessarily have the answers to my particular cognitive dissonance, maybe about ApoB or LDL. They can reassure me like, no, this is ancestrally how people evolved to eat, and those who did so were healthy. And that reassurance is really important.
Now, for me, a big portion of my health journey, fortunately, I wasn't extremely overweight. I haven't had issues with IBS. I haven't had type 2 diabetes. I've been very fortunate in those cases. Yet I've had hormonal issues for as long as I had hormones almost. So, and they led to extremely low energy, low mood, really poor quality of life overall. And so I have also come across, I'm going to give you a list here, Steak and Butter Gal, Kelly Hogan, and 5 Minute Body. And they're all women, because I'm not a dude. And they talk about a variety of topics, yet they often are interviewing a lot of the experts that talk about hormonal health for women.
And then for me, there's a few that are just regular people who've done the diet and they've documented their progress online. I mentioned in my last video, Freedom Ferrigno, who was actually on Lion Diet. He's had a tremendous results. And Amanda at
Carnivorous Me. She got into my feed early on in her journey and early on in mine. And
just incredible.
Yeah, she's really...
Because you see she shows when it's hard, and she shows the successes and the victories, and that getting that complete picture is really fair. I mean, it's not just all what's good.
Someone else who, this might be a little more controversial, someone who came across my feed was the Two Crazy Ketos. Now, obviously, they are keto. That is their non-negotiable.
Their logo is
an avocado. An avocado.
A cartoon avocado.
Yes. So, for good or bad, they've introduced me to things like Keto Chow and Redmond Salt. A lot of products I've been introduced through them. And sometimes that's good. Sometimes it's like, oh, maybe I'm eating a little too much Keto Chow.
Keto Chow is dangerous.
Keto Chow is dangerous. It is. Maybe that's our next video.
I like the peanut butter chocolate Keto Chow, but I might have it once a week now.
Yeah.
It was a daily habit for a while, and I was like, no, I think that might be too much goodness.
Yeah. But I love their content. The woman reminds me of your mother a little bit.
Oh, yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. And
she's way younger.
It's just,
And she's way more alive.
And she's way more alive. I was going to say that. You beat me to it.
Sorry, Mom. She would have laughed at that if she'd been alive to know she was dead.
She would have.
She would have laughed.
So they put out so much content. They put about 5 videos a week. So I just love
Holy
to have...
cow.
Yeah.
We do too.
Yeah, they put out 5. So I just love having them. They're like inviting friends over, having them just talking in the background. Really great for me as well.
And then Homestead How, he's local, right? I mean,
he's in Wisconsin.
We're in Wisconsin.
Yes.
We don't know him, haven't met him.
Not yet. We call him an enthusiast.
The extraordinary enthusiasm he has for everything is inspiring. Because even on Carnivore, I just get tired and I get demotivated. I've never once seen him tired or demotivated on a video. I'm sure it's happened.
He can fast for 7 days and he does not feel tired or demotivated by any means. He's more fired up than ever. So yeah, we hope to meet him someday. Speaking of fairly local, someone new who's come into my arena is Dr. Hampton. He's from the Chicago area, and we're in southeastern Wisconsin, so Chicago is just an hour and a half away. And I have been really loving his approach And the way he talks to patients with just utmost respect, just utmost respect for wherever they are in their journey. He's not pushing hard. He's just loving them and doing the best he can by them.
When I'm feeling particularly rational and wanting to make really good decisions based upon sound scientific information rather than just feels, I will go on Low Carb Down Under YouTube channel and watch many of the scientific presentations on there. There's tons of them. Dr. Chafee's done them. Dr. Paul Mason, I think is how you pronounce it. Paul Masson was a wine growing up, wasn't it, when we were kids? Serve no wine before it's time.
Oh.
Remember that, Logan?
I do remember that.
Yeah, but he has some just amazing presentations that are extraordinarily convincing, and that's helpful when I'm in that mode of I want to be very rational and scientific and believe the science. I can go there and get some science to believe in.
Well, what about Dr. Ovadia?
Great.
Yes.
Awesome.
Health, like a cardiologist.
Yep. Stay Off My Operating Table is his book.
Yes.
And I don't think the advice is to eat a bunch of healthy whole grains, pasta, and broccoli.
Well, and the thing I love about all of these doctors that I've encountered, except Dr. Chafee, who started in college eating carnivore, most of them have tried more of the nutrition recommendations, also the standard American diet when they're in med school. They've been there, done that, and they feel some remorse for the advice that they've given in the past. And I just love their stories and how they are treating the whole
I just heard
concept.
Dr. Baker again talking about how he was a surgeon. He was doing knee surgeries and stuff, and he found that when he put his patients on a diet, like carnivore, and they lost weight, all of a sudden their knee didn't hurt.
I did hear that.
And he's like,
I
can't do the surgery now that you've told me that. So, and then he was wanting to promote this way of eating, and the hospital was like, no, we want you to do surgeries. And then he was like sanctioned or something by the medical board. I don't remember I remember the whole story of it, but because he was promoting something that was against the conventional wisdom at the time. But in a previous video, we've been living in bizarro world for 50 years. It's been opposites day every day when it comes what's healthy to eat and what isn't. And we're finally uncovering it, and the truth sounds insane.
It does. Which leads me to my last person, at least that I can think of right now, is one of the godmothers of carnivore. And it was really interesting because I probably went 6 months or so before she happened to come across my feed. I don't know how that happened. But Kelly Hogan. Kelly Hogan has been doing it for about 15 years. She got a doctor in her, I believe it's a podunk town, I don't know, some small town somewhere. And he told her back 15 years ago to just eat meat, just eat animal products. And she didn't start perfectly. I think she drank diet soda and, but for the most part, she listened to him. And I mean, that was, to get that information that long ago in a small community, incredible. But I really enjoy hearing from her clients, the people in her community. She does great interviews. And I just love seeing her 15 years in, still experimenting, still learning, still healthy and vibrant. Yeah.
And I think the intellectual honesty of the people we've mentioned is what's so striking about them, because you can definitely find probably experts in this field who don't have that rigor or maybe that level of integrity. And that's what we want, is people who are telling us the truth. And when there's something that goes counter to it, very often what Dr. Berry will say, especially about ApoB, he's like, we don't know. Maybe that's something, maybe it isn't. He doesn't think it'll pan out in the long run as an important indicator, but who knows? And for my part, I'm not here to promote a doctrine.
No.
When I talk about building belief in something, it's really just a skill issue. It's like, how do you do it successfully? Well, if you believe it, you do it successfully. But that doesn't mean that you just have blind, absolute adherence and loyalty to it at all counter information, because that would be stupid.
Yeah.
And we're not stupid.
We're basically going upon how we feel, how it's making us feel. and getting all these people who have more knowledge, more experience is really useful for us.
I'm 53. She's 29 still.
Thank you, darling.
And something happens to the mindset at a certain point where you're like, wait a minute, how many years do I have left? Hopefully another 50, that'd be great.
Mm-hmm.
But how do I want to live every day? How do I want to feel every day? And am I going to put worry about this one blood marker up here and how I feel down here? It doesn't make any sense to me. I have to go on how the diet is making me feel and perform every day. And that's what I give the most precedent to.
Yep, me too. Me too.
So you should like and subscribe. This is the subscribe motion because you're
Subscribe.
poking the button. And you should leave a comment. And that comment should be about who else you like to watch in this space. Are there other YouTubers or creators that we've missed?
I watch daily, so I'd love any, I love the old timers for me, and any new ones I'd love to hear about. Yeah.
Yeah.